Transformers Generation 1 ran from 1984 through 1991, and in that time there were some pretty terrible alt modes. Alt is short for alternate. It's the non-robot mode of a transforming alien robot. I'm Dan Larson, and this is the 10 worst Transformers Generation 1 alt modes. Kicking off the list at number 1 is Broadside, a figure that I actually owned and am still disappointed with today. Broadside was a triple changer which doubled the chance of him having a terrible alt mode. His 3 modes are officially listed as Robot, Aircraft Carrier, and Jet, but it's really more like Brick with Arms, Floating Brick, and Brick with Wings. Disregard for a moment that the scale change for those 3 modes stretches the imagination of even the most complicit 10-year-old. Disregard the fact that his tech spec states that he is both afraid of heights and prone to seasickness. Disregard the robot mode that will very likely make the list of 10 worst robot modes at some point. It's that jet mode that we're talking about right now. As a kid in 1986 who was still high on Top Gun, this figure should have been the ultimate payoff. Instead, the jet mode looks like it was designed by someone who was drawing a jet from memory in a completely dark room with his feet. Number 2 is Perceptor, because no kid has ever thought to themselves, I'm having fun with this robot toy right now, but I can't help but think how much more fun this would be if I could also be doing my science homework. Perceptor transforms into a microscope because someone's got to do Blaster's homework. It ain't gonna do itself. Number 3 is a 2-for-1. Topspin and Twintwist are essentially the same toy with the same one-step transformation. Topspin's alt mode is a flying space forklift with arms, and Twintwist is a space drill with arms. Topspin and Twintwist are basically just watching the world go by through their crotches while in alt mode. While they do look terrible, consider this. How many other Transformers transformations can you actually emulate yourself? Number 4, Galvatron kicks off the movie section of the list because even as a kid I wasn't falling for the old take out the gun that looks like a gun and replace it with a purple space cannon. While G1 Megatron's robot mode was questionable, his Walther P-38 gun mode was spot on to the extent that it has been banned for sale in the United States. Galvatron's gun mode has feet. Number 5 is Cup, who helped usher in the second era of G1 Transformers via the Transformers movie that ruined my childhood back when I was still a child. Cup's alt mode is a space truck that has neither a tailgate or flatbed, so its functionality is suspect. From a toy perspective, it feels like they just laid him on his stomach and tucked all his parts into his chest. Such engineering. Number 6 is Blur, who transforms into a blue convertible hover car. While the animation models are sleek and futuristic, the actual toy is floppy and delicate. It's a figure that tries to do a little too much in alt mode, incorporating his shield as the hood of the hover car, which is a nice idea, but really sucks if you lose that shield. And you're gonna lose that shield. You lost that battle the day you took it out of the box. Number 7 is Scourge, whose alt mode is a hovercraft or space submarine, which in theory sounds like a fantastic idea, but in terms of the execution, let's be honest, Scourge is an early example of what would come to be known as a shell former. Shell formers are figures who are essentially just an alt mode of panels that are opened to reveal the robot mode inside. Scourge's transformation essentially boils down to opening up the 2 halves of the unremarkable space submarine and putting a gun in his hand. Number 8 is the Terrorcon Blot. Terrorcons are a combiner group like the Aerial Bots or the Constructicons, except instead of being airplanes or construction vehicles, Terrorcons are all weird fantasy monsters. For the most part, you can determine what kind of fantasy monsters they are, but Blot here is the exception. In his alt mode, he's some kind of ape-like creature, perhaps a half-lizard, half-gorilla robot alien. Fortunately, he has a very simple, practically non-existent transformation. As long as it looks like a hot mess when you're finished, then you're doing it right. Number 9 is a 3-for-1, and it's the Powerdashers. Clearly not up to the standards of the other Diaclone and Microchange toys that were incorporated into the Transformers line in its earliest days throughout 1984, they look and feel more like cheap knockoffs of Transformers than actual Transformers themselves. Their history is so muddled and rushed that it's not totally clear if they are Powerdashers, 3 characters with 3 separate alt modes, or one guy named Powerdasher, who just has 3 different versions of himself. Irregardless, whether it's the F1 car mode, the space drill mode, or the jet mode, the aesthetic of their alt modes has no resemblance to the prevailing aesthetic of Transformers. They really feel like they should have landed in the GoBots camp. And finally, number 10 is Quickswitch, a 6-changer released in 1988. That's right, Quickswitch had 6 official alt modes, and when you try to cram that many alt modes into one figure, you are guaranteed to have a few stinkers. Whether it's his kind of tank mode or his kind of jet mode, Quickswitch is a jack of all alt modes, master of none. And that's the 10 worst G1 Transformers alt modes. Who'd I leave out? Did I put someone on the list who doesn't deserve the indignation? Share your list in the comments now.